euthanasia. So at this point, most of you have either dealt with this yourself or had a family member that has dealt with this. You've seen it. You may not have been an active participant in it, but you've seen someone or heard of someone having to put their pet to sleep or have their pet euthanized. Why has the human animal bond become such a big thing lately, or in society recently? And it's pretty simple. We love our pets. Potentially, maybe it's a single parent or a single person, doesn't have any kids, and wants a companion, or couples that have sent their kids off to college and the house just feels lonely. These are ones that consider this kind of thing. One of the things that we think about that's helpful to older people is now nursing homes are starting to have animals in the nursing homes to keep the patients happy, be it a dog or a cat. Some have even had birds or things like that help. We've got our animal assisted therapy programs. A big one that's a conversation lately is equine. So kids with autism, especially, they bond with these horses and they have a great experience. We also think about for the disabled, so someone that is in a wheelchair and needs a dog to go with them, or we think about someone who has seizures and the dog alerts. So losing a pet is a significant part of anyone's life. We love our pets, and if you don't have anybody to go through that with, it can be magnified. You lost the only thing that really mattered to you, is what a lot of people will feel like. Some people might not understand. They don't have a pet or they never became attached to their pet like some owners do. We have to serve as a way to support them, a way to understand and help them move through the grieving process. We always say we're kind of everything as far as lobotomists, radiologists, dentists, but we're also grieving as well. So, grief, what is grief? Basically, mental anguish after the loss of an object of attachment. So, we think obviously animals, but anything from death, divorce, job loss, moving, those are all forms of things that would cause grief. You have to let go. You have to move through the stages that allow you to let go, find something new attached to. Sometimes that's healthy, sometimes it's not. Just depends on the situation. Stages of grief, we've got denial, bargaining, anger, depression, and resolution. And with anger comes guilt. It's where ourselves, it's your fault this happened. Why did you let it get this far? Or we just say negative things to ourselves. Stages of grief. So we've got the denial, which is number one. This is a really normal mechanism, defense mechanism. Man, I just can't believe this is happening. Sometimes they don't cry, but then when they get home, they just completely cry because they aren't really feeling that this is true. They know that they came in with their dog and that they're leaving without their dog, but they still don't really see that this is the end. Bargaining, the ones that are like, please God, make the cancer go away. Are you sure we have to do that? Do this? Isn't there any other choice? They're the ones that are looking for that minute miracle cure where you say, okay, yeah, we didn't try this, when in reality, everyone understands that it's the end. Anger, this can be shown towards you. It could be shown towards someone else. They could say, this is your fault. This is, why didn't you save them if it was an emergency situation, or something like that. This can also, again, like we talked about, manifest as a form of guilt. Why didn't I let this, why did I let it get this far? Why did I bring this animal in? Maybe if I didn't bring him in, I would have had more time with them. Depression, this is also called grief. So experiencing not able to sleep, not able to concentrate on things, talking about the pet, feeling irritable if someone asks you how you're doing. Well, of course I'm not good. I just lost my dog, or something to that extent. If depression becomes too severe where they just are staying at home, they're calling the clinic, are you sure nothing was done, or that we couldn't have done anything else? Or I'm so upset. I'm so sad about losing Fluffy. We may have to direct them to a professional counselor. And there's acceptance. This is the last form where, okay, we understand that our pet isn't coming back. We made the right decision. We did everything we could, and now we have to move forward. Why euthanasia? Most of the time it's due to suffering or a poor quality of life at this point. Cancer, hit by car, really old age where they can't hear, they can't see, they're losing their bowels in the house. We want to make sure that we're giving the owner all the information that we could potentially be giving them. We want them to make an informed decision. We don't want to make the decision for the client. Are they doing it out of convenience? If so, you have to talk about where you stand on that aspect. Preparing for euthanasia, obviously, putting your animal to sleep is a pretty common word or phrase, but we like to use euthanasia. It just is a more direct form of what's going to occur. Who's going to be present? So a lot of these things, the receptionist or the front office staff is going to have handled prior to them even coming in. As far as scheduling, you want to make sure that there's plenty of time. Potentially, if they can't come in a back door or a side door, that there's not going to be a bunch of people waiting in the waiting room. Recognize pain, fear, and distress. If an animal is coming in and they're old, they can't walk, they're scared, they can't see, they know something's wrong, we need to make sure we're doing everything to make it comfortable for them. And then having a good location to do euthanasias, be it a back room or a room that they can enter from the side of the building and leave from the side of the building. At the end, expect and plan for the unexpected. Kind of a rule of thumb is if you know how much the dog weighs, you want to make sure you're drawing up extra euthanasia, or you even have the bottle with you, because things that can occur where the animal just is not passing and you need more medication. We always suggest, and best practice is giving some sort of sedative beforehand to allow the patient to calm down, potentially just drift into sleep. This makes it easier for the owner and also for our patient. At the end, we want to make sure that we're reassuring them and we're supporting them that they did make the correct decision, and that you're here if they need anything. We want to make sure that we are listening to the animal and letting the owner know that they are indeed gone. Let them spend as long as they need in a room with their pet. This is why having a special room for euthanasias is such a big deal. Ways to give them positive memories of their pet. A lot of clinics will do clay paw prints or ink paw prints. Those are great ways to help the client go through the grief process. The stress of it's a biggie for us. We are taking that burden for those owners, essentially. We want to make it as smooth as we can. Even if the difficult cases, sometimes the smooth ones make us just as stressed. We're watching the old man who's crying because he's losing his best friend, that he lost his wife a year ago, and now he's losing his dog. And the dog passes perfectly, but your heart is just ripped because you're watching this man. That's a smooth euthanasia, but you're still going to go home and just be a wreck. Know your views. Know whether you want to be the one performing it. If you want to say no, understand and make sure your doctors know where you stand. Same thing with limits. You want to make sure if you don't want to be involved in someone who's euthanizing a 2-year-old cat that's urinating outside the box, that you're not involved. You just need to make sure you're sharing that with other people. So euthanasia in the shelter or research facility is a little bit different, obviously. They have their own room. They have their own rationalization for doing it. And they have a rotation where people aren't stuck doing it every single day. High rate of depression in shelter medicine, especially veterinary medicine all around, but shelter medicine because they see the hard cases, they see the abuse, they see the neglect, and if they had to be stuck in a room all day, every day euthanizing, it would not be a good situation. Large animals. So the big issue with large animals is safety. These guys are sometimes weigh over 1,000 pounds. A couple weeks ago, we chatted about large animal medicine and how when you do go to euthanize or go on a farm call, why doing it in the spring and summer and fall is better than the winter. Um, Same thing we have to talk about is safety. We want to make sure that we are able to sedate and euthanize, let's say, the horse in the same place where the horse is going to rest. We talked about the hole, we talked about the farmer, we talked about that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. Um, Obviously, large animals, we want to go with the jugular vein. It's the safest and it's going to be the fastest. We don't want to be down by their feet if they're agitated or if they're going to start to fall. Obviously, that's a scary situation. And then there's a video for you guys to go ahead and watch. Watch it, and then we can talk about it. And you also have a discussion for this